Before we get started, I made this armature on a live stream, which you can see on the channel, but I was so excited to talk to you guys that I forgot to make this piece up here. And all it is just 2 large pieces of armature wire that are tied to the main assembly. Pretty self-explanatory. Enjoy the show. Cold in here. Alright, so I have the basic anatomy roughed out. I went ahead and added a little gesture to the bust. When I think of Majin Buu, this is almost immediately what comes to mind. Basically a mix of being confident, amused, playful, curious, overall unhinged. I guess we have a lot in common, but I just wanted something subtle. I'm usually a fan more of stoic museum type poses. Either way, it's sort of locked in at this point. You could probably repose it. You might weaken the armature a little bit and the clay might pull away from it. You'd probably have to squeeze it back together and maybe do a little bit of resculpting. But I like where it's headed, so I'm gonna leave it. I did clean things up a little bit with a sponge just to kind of get rid of some of the noise so that I could read the forms a little bit better. And I also sculpted some of this further ahead on a live stream just to kind of test things out, and I'm gonna basically build off of that. But if you missed that, I'll try to put it on the screen somewhere or in the description, but there's a playlist for live streams on my channel, and you can also catch the one where I built the armature there too. I'll give him a quick little spin around so you can see the rest. And this isn't perfectly anatomically accurate. I'm still kind of working things out back here, but he's just a big jacked alien, so we get a free pass. Anyway, I think I'm happy with this so far, so let's keep moving.
Dobos episode. Done.
So I went ahead and sculpted a quick face on him. He still looks a little strange because he doesn't have ears yet, but I just wanted to throw in some quick details to see if I like the direction that it was heading. I always try to work on the whole sculpt all at once and bring things up together, but the face came together really fast since there wasn't a nose, so I just went with it. It's not too late to change anything, and I'm probably still going to tweak a few things like make his eyes a little bit bigger and possibly move them a little closer together, but I want to see it with the ears on first. That'll make a pretty big difference, so we'll see. There's still lots of cleanup and detailing that I want to do, but I want to nail down the portrait and everything else around it before I get to that point. That way, while he's still kind of rough, I'm not worried about making any big changes. And I waited to finish his little Majin noodle since since it's unfortunately very thin. But I didn't want it to dry out too fast. I could counteract that by putting some wet paper towels on the area while I'm sculpting, but that doesn't look cool on camera, so I'm avoiding it. Next up, let's get the ears on, see where we stand, and that'll help us decide if we want to change anything.
So, it's you. I've known about you all along.
Now that he's all here, I like the way it looks, so I'm not going to make any major changes. I got a little carried away off camera just cleaning up the teeth, so I had to stop myself before doing any more detailing. Teeth can be a real bummer, especially with a big grin like this, mainly because the back ones are tough to access and the clay is still pretty soft at this point, so any little touch of the tool means you're going to be spending the next 3 hours chasing your tail, covering your footsteps through the mouthy forest. Oh, what's that? You don't have a tail. Well, how about you shut up? Now, you could always sculpt teeth from another material and insert them in, but an even easier way is to get some pre-made teeth if you can find the right size. I usually keep a few sets on hand that I get from the people locked in my base, but in my opinion, this is one of the best stages of the sculpt, when there's not really any more problem solving to do, and you're not worried about making any big changes or moving around large amounts of material, and all the stress is just kind of gone. I think it's the most satisfying and at least relaxing part of the process. It gives you a lot of time to think about how you've wasted your life doing something that's almost just one prompt away from having a machine do all of it for you.
No.
Now, before I get right into the detailing, I'm just going to do another pass or two and kind of clean things up a little further, sharpen any edges, fill up any forms, and just kind of finesse things right where I want them to be. You can easily get caught up in this stage, and it might cause you to linger a little bit too long on the end of a sculpt, mostly because of how dopamine is attached to being on the right path rather than actually finishing the project. So just be aware, because that can cloud your judgment. Just like those videos you watch where they walk in on the stepmom. Anyway, I should be able to finish this up quickly now that I don't have to spend the next 4 episodes going Super Saiyan.
should go.
Okay, now we're going to push things a little bit further and get some of that fun skin texture. I waited a little while for the clay to dry out. Wet clay becomes almost leathery after a while and makes it easier to do fine detail. You do need to have some confidence in this step because the clay is going to become hard and almost unworkable, except for the very surface. That doesn't mean you can't make any more changes, it's just going to be a lot harder to do at this point. I wasn't feeling the brow and the forehead. I also made his jaw a little bit wider, just so he looks stronger and maybe a little more intimidating. So he's more like a Chad Buu now. So I've kind of signed off on this, and I'm really only going to be concerned with the surface. I'm going to put some skin wrinkles, some veins, and maybe some pores in, then finally punch up any last little random areas that need it, and we'll call it done. Enjoy.
So, Hotshot, you want to fight Majin Buu?